What's good, YouTube? LTTV Combat Sports Talk. And before I get started with the video, for those that may be new to the channel, I do content on boxing and mixed martial arts. If that's the type of content that you're into, feel free to hit that sub button. Well, it appears that Errol Spence has clapped back at Brian McIntyre, aka Bomac. And he did it in a very savage way by exposing Brian McIntyre's boxing record. Now, when I first saw it, I'm not gonna lie to nobody, I was laughing because I didn't know that Bomac had a boxing record. I don't think most of us even knew he had one anyways. When I actually saw his record, in his last 5 fights, he was either TKO'd or just knocked out in general. But he has the nerve and the audacity to dog out Errol Spence the way that he was doing all this time, taking personal attacks, calling him a drunk, and plenty of other disrespectful and tasteless things. Now, you can only poke a man for so long until that man eventually ends up clapping back and hitting you where it hurts. And honestly, this is kind of the payback for Bomac's disrespectful remarks towards Errol Spence. When Spence was kind of quiet for a very long time, when Bomac and Bernie the Boxer and many others within Crawford's camp was taking personal jabs. Which, truth be told, if they wanted to keep it in boxing, most of us wouldn't really have a problem with it, nor would any of us really be making videos on this situation. But because they're personal attacks and Errol Spence getting back at Bomac in the worst way, exposing his trash boxing record in front of the whole world, letting the boxing world know this is Bomac for real. And honestly, I'm not mad because Bomac got what he deserved, in my personal opinion. No one can say that this is harsh or in distaste, because it's not. If someone was coming at you in the manner that Bomac was coming at Errol, you'll probably do the same thing, if not a whole lot worse. Depends on the type of individual that you are. So, personally speaking, I'm not mad that Errol did what he did because it was calculated, it was very smart, and very strategic. Because when you expose Bomac and his record for all of us to see and laugh at and get a kick out of it, Bud Crawford is going to respond to an 11 because that's his trainer, mentor, and his manager, to my understanding. So you knew that Crawford was going to step in, defend his trainer, which is his right, and most fighters will do the same thing. But here's my problem with that. If Crawford had a little bit of an issue with the personal attacks that were thrown in Errol's direction, he could have told Bomac and Bernie to cool out with that. But in my personal opinion, I think he may have been content with them doing what they were doing to Errol Spence because he may feel the same way. I don't know that for sure. It's just kind of an opinion of mine because it makes sense. Because if you know that you have to fight this man in the coming months, why would you let your hype man and your trainer kind of still poking the bear? Why would you let those two individuals in your camp continue to do what they were doing to Errol Spence this whole time and not say a word about it? So when you really look at it, it's almost like it's a little bit of jealousy there at this point. And eventually, when Crawford and Spence, when that fight is official, all the disrespect that Team Crawford has shown to him, Bud's going to have to face that. Really, I say this to be blunt. Errol Spence is going to fuck him up in the worst way possible. Now, I only say that not out of emotion, because it's not that really, even though I have Errol Spence winning that fight. But because of the personal attacks that have been placed upon his name all this time through the car accident, the eye retina and the surgery following that, all that anger and frustration that he has for Bomac and Bernie, he's gonna take that out on Bud. And when you piss someone like him off, when that first bell rings and then eventually the fight goes on, it's gonna get worse. And I hope that any Terence Crawford fan or somebody in his circle, I hope you guys are preparing yourselves for what's bound to happen. Because honestly, I don't see Bud winning that fight at all. But outside of that though, Bomac, he bit a little bit more than he can chew. And he's paying the price for it. He's the laughing stock of the boxing world at this precise moment. And honestly, I kind of like it. Because he's getting a taste of his own medicine. Because you don't go around disrespecting somebody that's not disrespecting you. You just don't do that. Because in the end, all that disrespect will get turned around on you. And that's all this is. Nobody on Team Crawford can really be pissed off or be all in their feelings when they were the first ones to get personal and be disrespectful. When Errol Spence, Derrick James, anybody associated with Errol Spence or those within his immediate circle, nobody was really being disrespectful towards Crawford. Not one time. All the boxing videos that I've watched and have commented on throughout the last few years when it relates to them two and their potential fight with one another, I didn't see not one Team Spence member disrespect Terence Crawford. I just never seen it. So many had to ask, why was Team Crawford attacking Errol Spence personal when it was never personal to begin with? It was all boxing. If it was just boxing, that's cool. I mean, shit talking, that happened. But when you take it to those lengths, there's usually no coming back from it. So in my personal opinion, it's kind of like the point of no return. That's just how I feel. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that particular situation. Was Errol Spence in the right to clap back at Bomac for the disrespect, or should he have continued to take the high road? Now, before you guys answer that question, I want to give my last few takes on it. When you continue to take the high road on something like that, you're only saying that what they were doing was okay, and them disrespecting you was no issue. So if you're going to answer that question that I just laid out, and you're going to say that Errol Spence was in the wrong, you put yourself in his shoes. You went through near tragic circumstances that he went through, and the PTSD that came with it, and his issues with alcohol, all that disrespect coming at your direction by your peers, that leaves a sour taste in your mouth when you really didn't deserve it. So if you're going to say that he was wrong for it, you're basically saying that you'll be okay with someone disrespecting you in the same manner. So that's just my thoughts on that particular aspect. Now, in conclusion of this, I hope Bomac and Bernie and anybody associated with Team Crawford don't really continue to take it personal, because it's already gotten that way, and there's no point in making it more personal than it already is, especially when Team Crawford has started it already. So Errol Spence said what he said, and through the tweets that Crawford and Spence were going back and forth, Crawford did respond as expected, but I feel like Team Crawford and everybody else associated with that particular camp should kind of just fall back and wait till the fight is announced and official, and then you can go back to doing the shit talking. Because at this point, you're giving someone like Errol Spence fuel and extra motivation, and plus you're pissing him off even more. And a focused, dedicated, but also pissed off Errol Spence is not someone you really want to step in the ring with. But unfortunately for Terence Crawford, within the next, let's say, 4 to 5 months, maybe 6, if that fight happens in November, within the September through November timeframe, that fight is going to be happening this year. And when that first round bell rings, Terence Crawford is in for a long night, as well as a rude awakening. So I just hope all the personal jabs is kind of cooled out until the fight is actually official for the boxing public. And that's going to conclude this video. If you liked and enjoyed it, hit that like, hit that sub button, hit that bell, and click also. You never miss any of my videos, and you see all of my notifications. LTTV Combat Sports Talk. I'm out of here. Peace.